I think if you were to ask my friends if you could name one thing that Johnny is good at, what is it? They would all probably say telling stories.
100%, bro.
Johnny K is a serial storyteller who's cracked the code to going viral. Today, he shares the tactics that helped him to grow his audience and generate millions of views every week.
Literally the first Cries Hospital video did, I think it's just under 1 million. The second one is 2 million. So immediately, and that was when I went to bed that one night, woke up the following morning, and I gained overnight like 5,000 followers.
What are the tactics alongside those things that have helped you to achieve like this level of success?
I think a lot of people who are on TikTok a lot will get those videos that are like, this is what you need to do to have videos go viral on TikTok. They talk about like, this is another really important thing. People just build up all these videos in their drafts. If a video is ready, it goes. Okay. So that I have to work on the next video. It is obviously the era of social media, and the thing I always say, if you don't want to post videos, you actually don't have to on TikTok. You can use Instagram. If you don't want to post pictures on Instagram, you can write on Substack. If you don't want to write on Substack, you can build a career profile on LinkedIn. There is kind of a platform for everyone, but I would always say the growth opportunity is obviously on TikTok. The opportunity is real. The level of opportunity of changing your life through that platform, we're living in the moment of it right now.
Johnny K, the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome back, my brother.
Thank you very much for having me. How are you?
Bro, I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, thank you.
A lot has happened in the months since our first recording. And just to catch the people up, in case they haven't tuned into the first one. So Johnny is the Chief Commercial Officer at Versus. That's what we spoke about in episode 1. Make sure to go watch that. We're going to link it. We spoke about the rise of Johnny from his recruitment days to Boiler Room to Versus and everything in between. And I remember coming from that recording and being like, oh, bro, there's so much we didn't cover. And Johnny was like, I know, man. We're going to have to run it back. And here we are, a few months later, running it back. Round 2, let's go. So yeah, guys, today, if you want to listen to Johnny's Versus journey, go check episode 1. Today, we're going to be talking about the rise of his TikTok account. And we're also going to be talking about Johnny, the music manager. So some of you might know that Johnny used to manage Novelist. He's now also managing Bow. But we're going to get into that, guys. So, Johnny, where do I want to start this conversation, bro? Like, how long have you been posting on TikTok, bro? And what possessed you to start creating the content? And what kind of content do you post? Everything.
I actually started posting on TikTok 2 years ago,
okay,
in 2023. The reason I started was because at that time I was still managing Nov, I believe. Yeah, I was still managing Nov. And my younger brother, I felt, had huge potential to be a creator himself. And my partner is a DJ. And I had all three of them sort of talking down on TikTok. It was some version of, it's too hard to grow quickly, it's not worth the effort, or some other version of that.
Yeah.
And well, the easiest way to prove that none of that is true is if I just start posting myself.
The I told you so.
The I told you so approach. But the truth was, I think I did it for about, 6 months maybe. And I just kind of got lost in the sauce. I think there was no real purpose to it, number one. I think proving a bunch of people I'm close to wrong isn't really enough of a reason to post on there. So at a certain point I stopped and I deleted all the videos. And at that point thought, I'm done with TikTok. Then about, I don't even know how long ago, between 6 and 9 months ago, I realized I just wasn't talking the talk, or even more importantly, walking the walk. In terms of the sort of advice I was giving people. I think I'm really fortunate that a lot of young people who want to work in the creative industries come to me and say, what are the things I can do to make myself stand out from the rest of the crowd? It is obviously the era of social media. And the thing I always say, if you don't want to post videos, you actually don't have to on TikTok. You can use Instagram. If you don't want to post pictures on Instagram, you can write on Substack. If you don't want to write on Substack, you can build a career profile on LinkedIn. There is kind of a platform for everyone, but I would always say the growth opportunity is obviously on TikTok.
Yeah.
And after I said that a few times, I sort of started thinking, but I'm actually not using it. And I had a conversation with someone that I actually mentor vaguely about this sort of thing. And he said to me, Johnny, pick your game and then actually play it. He was like, don't sort of like half-arse it. He was like, the game you're playing, is a media game, it's an audience game. To some extent, it's a clout game if you want to look at it negatively. And if that's the game you're playing, what you should be doing is leveraging social media. And I thought, for someone that I'm mentoring to be telling me that, I thought I'm going to give it another crack. And yeah, I started posting again, like I said, probably about a year ago now.
And like, okay, so you give it another crack, and you speak about the first time around when you're doing it, you're kind of just posting for the shits and giggles. And now you come back like in the past year with that clear identity. Take us through that process. Like, how is it that you find your identity, and how does it differ from what you were posting originally in that first stint?
Yeah, well, what I decided to post initially was stuff that I felt would give people value. So I think my first post when I came back was about the fact I interviewed Crescencio Somerville when he signed for West Ham. And I was only posting still image carousels, writing on them. But I thought I've done some cool work stuff and I can give people genuine insight and hopefully like a little bit of learning on how it was I got to that position. So probably for the first 2 or 3 months, I was just posting work-related still images with explainer text on them. I think I managed to grow the account to about, I don't know, between 10K and sort of 15K.
Wow, and how where did it start at that point?
When I restarted, I think I was probably about 10K, and I think I probably grew it up another 5K in those 2 or 3 months. I was about 15K followers by the end of that. And yet, at this point, it was different, right? My purpose was, I'm going to use this as a platform to try and help other people break into the football or music industries. That was the initial purpose of what I was doing.
Okay, sick. And I suppose, you know, going between the past and then the rebirth, like in the past, did you blow up? And like, did you feel like, oh, I could make a go of this and prove them wrong? Or did that happen post?
There's no proving wrong. I always knew if I wanted to, I could be big on social media.
Okay.
Like, anyone can do it. If you know how to talk, I literally work in social media. I know the mechanics of these platforms. It was never a question of like, oh, could I or couldn't I? The mechanic is very simple. Consistency, look at what works and what doesn't, do more of what works, try and post 2 or 3 times a day, use the correct hashtags, stay in touch with the sort of, you know, the things that TikTok are sending out in terms of what works, use trending sounds, you know, use 3-second hooks. There's information, I think everyone kind of knows it at this point. Yeah. It's not a question of, can I make it work or can I not? It's literally just, are you actually willing to do what it takes to blow? And the reality is, like, the level of consistency, I mean, you see how much I post. My aim is like 2 posts minimum a day, which I've achieved for like 6 months or something, probably. I don't think I've missed a day. If you do that and you look at what works and you look at what doesn't work, as I just said, and you do what works and you start rinsing and repeating that, anyone can grow on the platform. Yeah,
I mean, just like, I'm sure there's going to be people tuned into this who know how much Johnny posts, but to give you an insight, like today, I was like, oh, let me just take an hour and scroll through his TikTok just to familiarize myself with some of the stories. And I'm there, and an hour goes by, and I look back, I'm like, I've only got to last week because I'm watching every video like from the beginning to the end, and I'm creasing. And there's Emma from The Guardian, there's Mark, there's John. I'm like, where does this brother get all the names from? But I was like, yeah, like you're actually on job. And I suppose like we'll get into it. Like 2 to 3 times a day consistently is crazy. So to somebody who understands what they need to do but has to go about executing it, how is it you've managed to execute that much content? Because that's literally hundreds of videos, takes, edits. Like, is it all you? And like, what is your process, bro?
It is all me. I'm doing it all completely on my own for the time being anyway. And you probably noticed, right, on the TikToks, look at where I am.
Just on the move.
Sometimes I'm literally just walking to the station on the way to work because I know in that day that's the only moment I'm going to get. Mm-hmm. Or I come home and I don't know how much she likes this or not. I live with my partner and I say, as soon as I get in, I say, I'm really sorry. I've just got to record, edit and post a video. Sometimes I've already recorded it in work. I've just got to edit it and post it when I'm at home. But the truth is, when you get into the flow of it, I'd say where I currently am, start to finish, I think it's probably about 20 minutes of video.
Okay.
So if I'm posting 2 videos, it's just 40 minutes I've got to find in my day, basically, to make it happen.
And in terms of like ideation, obviously now you're at a point where it looks like you're taking your audience on a journey, is what, and I think we're in the Guardian era at the moment.
We are in the Guardian era.
In the Guardian era, I guess. But I think before there was a lot of like football, fashion, and now we're getting the chronological. Oh my god. You know what I mean?
The chronological order of the stories,
order. So yeah, like how has that change come about?
You're right. Things move so fast. I forget I was even doing those like brand videos about like Stone Island and CP Company and football. That was only like 2 months ago, and if that feels like a lifetime ago now. Before, when it came to football stories, I'd literally just look at a list of all 92 English teams that play in the English Football League. One would stick out. I'd remember I'd got a story, and I would just post it. Well, I would just record it immediately.
Wow.
Every now and again, when I'm like out and about and I think of a story, I'll put it in the notes on my phone and be like, I'll record that one later. But the one that changed everything was when I started talking about the boarding school that I went to.
Oh yeah.
And when I did that and I started moving through those cross hospital stories, I suddenly realised that I could make my life so much easier by just doing a chronological thing until I get to present day. And people are asking me, well, what happens when you get to present day? I haven't got an answer.
Yeah. We're just going to have to make more stories.
Yeah.
Oh my God, where do I want to go with it? And then, like you mentioned the fact that, you started creating content because you wanted to help people get into like sports and media. And now you've ended up basically bearing all. Like, how has that happened?
I don't know. Like, I think if you were to ask my friends, if you could name one thing that Johnny is good at, what is it? They would all probably say telling stories.
100%, bro.
It's probably the one thing I've got is I can tell a story. It's why I do the job I do at Versus. Like, really, that job is just a storytelling job. I'm just telling the Versus story day in, day out to people that work at brands. That's kind of what I do. So in a way, the way I've been feeling recently is like this kind of was the thing I should have been doing all along. It's like so obvious. And like these stories, for context, if you're my friend, and my friends are always messaging me, my friends have heard every single one of these stories already.
Yeah.
Like these are not fresh stories that no one has heard before. At some point, sitting in a pub, on a train, on a plane somewhere, sitting in someone's flat, everyone knows these stories already if you're like in my circle.
Yeah.
So I'm only retelling stories I've told before.
Okay, and then, oh my God, there's so much I want to ask, bro. Because, because you're retelling stories, I suppose it's easy for you to hash them out. Like you said, you got a partner, right? Because I had like a podcast before this one, for those that know, and it was a travel podcast. I used to talk about, we went to this club, we went to that club, and it was like loads of in-betweener stories from the do's and don'ts of being on holiday. But now I'm like married, I got a kid on the way, and I'm like, bro, like I don't know if I could just be airing out all of my information. Like there was one I was listening to a couple of weeks back, and you're coming back from West Ham, you've had the covering match. Hold it in. I hope we can overlay it or something because it's too funny. Make sure you go check them out on TikTok. We're going to post it all. But like, how does your missus feel when you're bearing your heart and soul? Like, do you talk to her about it?
We talk about it all the time. You've got to remember, all this stuff, it was such a long time ago.
That's
and
facts.
I think, and the thing that makes it all possible is I live a very different life to the one now, to the one that I lived in these stories. Even as recently as the Guardian ones, which we're only talking, I mean, it's still 9 years ago, 8 years ago, if you're talking about the most recent ones. I think when you've had a real pivot in your lifestyle, I think suddenly it becomes a lot easier to look back and laugh at how I used to live. I think that if I was still drinking loads of pints, sniffing gear, sleeping around, or even not sleep, but just before me, Lou together, I was sleeping around loads, and it still was bleeding into the way that I live now. I'm sure whoever I was with, Lou or anyone else, would feel really uncomfortable. But I feel like when there's that separation, and I'm trying to live a productive, useful life now.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot easier for everyone to look at these stories with just like a bit of humour.
Yeah.
And the thing that I really like about my audience on TikTok is they all understand what the point of this is, which is number one, these are just meant to be relatable stories to tell you. If you are like a teenager in your early 20s and you feel lost and you're doing stupid stuff, and sometimes you get into a point when you're like, why does my life look like this? It's completely fine, because that's where I was. I'm much happier now, somewhat successful. And that's kind of the point of it. It's just a little bit of a laugh, and it's meant to be an example that you can do all sorts of crazy stuff when you're growing up, and at some point it is possible to just grow up, basically.
Yeah. Like you mentioned the fact that when you started posting about Christ Hospital was when, you know, things really started to take off. Can you like think about specific moments where the trajectory of like the followers just started to ramp up on TikTok?
It was then, like, I was in the office, and this was when I was still winging my stories, like day to day. I would just try and keep an open mind, and whatever came into my head, I'd be like, that's a good idea. I'll do a video on that. And that I was doing that every day, just winging it, one story after the other. And I just suddenly thought once, that school is so weird. And I've got so many stories, and the truth is I haven't told even half the stories from that school year. I'm holding them because I'm deciding what I'm doing with that, because we'll get onto that, because when you talk about what am I going to do with the audience, I think that a lot of it could be connected to that. I thought the school, and I thought I'm actually going to put a lot of effort into this first video about Cross Hospital. I'm going to find pictures of me in the uniform. I'm going to find overlay video of like people marching into lunch, because I really had a feeling that it could connect with a wide audience. And the part of the reason I knew it could connect is because Christ Hospital have got their own TikTok, and whenever they post kids in the uniform, it like goes viral. Okay. So I kind of sensed that if I brought that into my universe, it would do well. I think the first video did 1 million. Literally the first Christ Hospital video did, I think it's just under 1 million. The second one is 2 million. So immediately, and that was when I went to bed that one night, woke up the following morning, and I gained overnight like 5,000 followers.
Oh my goodness.
And it just kept, the followers kept going for like a couple of weeks, and that's when I grew. This is only literally 3 weeks ago. I grew from 45k to 100k followers. So it took you in a week.
And I think that's the thing, like it took you 2 years and a couple of breaks to go from 0 to 45k, and then in a week you went from 45k, you doubled your audience. And I think like people need to hear that, right? Because even me on my journey, I keep telling like my wife, oh, don't worry, when I get to 1k, the 2k, I'm like, the 2k is gonna come. And I'm like, it really is the power of compounding. I suppose the question I wanted to ask on that is, you mentioned you had the 1 million there and the 2 million. Before that, are your videos still doing views like your 10k, your 20k, your 30k, your 50k? Like, were you doing numbers before that?
Yeah, I was doing numbers before that. Like, I think if you've got 45k followers and you're growing steadily, you will be doing decent numbers. Yeah. And a lot of the like brand videos, like the Stone Island one and the CP Company one, they're between 500k and 1 mil themselves. Wow, okay. They weren't all doing that, but yeah, generally I'd got to a point where 10k was like the bare minimum of what I was doing by that point.
And then like with this, right? Because I know what it's like for me when I get something that gets 100k or 200k views. I'm not at 1 million yet, but that's the next target. It's like there's a pressure, right? Like, if this one only gets 10k when I know I'm bussing 2 million on some, like sometimes I look at your stuff and I'm like, is it deleted somewhere? Like there's only been 50 views. Obviously not obvious because I know.
I've never deleted any videos.
Because it's like so consistently banging. Like talk me through your mental every time you're posting and how it is you overcome that.
I think that you have to let go of all expectation. Okay. And the thing that I find about posting on TikTok is because you, even at the level I'm at now, I believe you've got to be so incredibly consistent. I will overly compulsively check how a video is doing until I post the next video. Okay. And as soon as I post the next video, I completely forget about every other video I've posted, which is why it's actually quite useful to be consistent. And it's interesting, earlier today, I thought I'd look at just how my historic videos have done. It's only then that I saw that one of the Cross Hospital videos from the last time I looked at it till now had gone from 1 million to 2 million views. Wow. But old videos, I don't know why, there's just something in the mentality I just don't care about. Yeah. As soon as I post a new video, my second to most recent one could be absolutely flying, going completely viral. I just don't care, just let go. And it's the new one that I check on. And I've got to be real, I've got an app called Opal. This isn't a sponsored ad, but it allows you to block your social apps, and there's a setting where you can block it for a period of time, and no matter what you do, you can't unblock it.
Oh, really?
I use that every day.
Oh, okay.
Every single day I use that, because otherwise I just get sucked into checking it too much.
Yeah.
And I don't want my life to look like posting on TikTok, and then the rest of my day is just checking how TikTok's done. I've got to go out and live. Yeah. So I like post a TikTok. I will just stay on it at the start to see how it's doing, and then I'll block for like 6 hours.
And okay, we'll just leave it there. And then like you kind of mentioned it there, like you said consistency, you said hashtags. To somebody who's listening to this, to people who maybe haven't been able to get mentorship from yourself, like what are the tactics alongside those things that have helped you to achieve like this level of success?
This level of success, it's not much.
It's a level though.
It's a level.
It's
It is.
A-level,
It is. The hook is really important.
Okay.
I think a lot of people who are on TikTok a lot will get those videos that are like, this is what you need to do to have videos go viral on TikTok. They talk about like the first 3 seconds being key. All those cross-hospital videos, every single one. Number one, do you want a story?
Yeah.
A repeatable thing that when I come up on someone's For You page, they know it's me and they also know what it's going to be about.
Yeah.
I think that's really helpful. Then what is the next bit? I mean, I did it the best with the school videos because always I'd say, even though the videos were like new and there was historic ones, I'm at the world's weirdest boarding school, and I would always overlay with a picture of me in the uniform. So then it's like a second hook. The first hook is the recognizable one for the people that already know who I am. Second one, world's weirdest boarding school. This looks interesting. I think the start is incredibly important. The main time I take editing is just to remove any gaps between my speech. Like if you look at any of the good TikTokers, you see it has almost like a jumpy effect because they're like compressing the space between sentences. And when I talk, I take a breath sometimes. I just take all of that out so that when someone's watching it, it's just a full flow of a story with no gaps.
Yeah.
Really important. I think overlaying pictures and videos really helps. And having interesting stories. I mean, ultimately, the thing that gives me an advantage is I've just lived like a fairly unconventional life.
Yeah.
I think there's two sides to it. Every now and again, someone comments saying, these stories are actually just a normal life of like a teenager. And I think there's some truth to that, is that the stories I tell, I think they are reflective of a lot of people's lives. I think that's why they identify. The other side of it is I do think I live on the extremes a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that gives me some interesting stories and perspectives to offer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be that stuff.
Okay. And like to anybody who is thinking about doing something similar, because I'm sure there will be like imitators, right, who have seen your I'll tell you a story. Have you like gone onto TikTok and seen other people like, I'll tell you a story?
No, I haven't actually. I haven't seen anyone take the tagline.
Okay, good. But to people who are looking to not even do something similar, just to go from that 0 to 100K on TikTok, what's the immediate action they should think about taking today?
I mean, there's a few things. The quality is important. And sometimes I get frustrated even with my own videos because really I want to be sat down somewhere silent because TikTok will prioritize your video in the algorithm if the audio is super clear.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can put yourself at a disadvantage if you're like going out and there's background noise, and I do have that on some of my videos and I know it's putting it at a little bit of a disadvantage. So that's one. Face, super visible and clear, like clear camera quality. Record and post in HD.
Yeah.
But it's all about finding the niche, and I know that it's like such general, broad advice.
Yeah.
But if you can find a pocket that no one else is doing, that's where you'll win.
Yeah.
My pocket is my life. Obviously, no one else has lived my life, so no one can really repeat that.
Yeah.
So that's my advantage. That it's all personal.
I've actually got so many questions on like the actual creation of the content. When you're doing it at home, is your phone on a stand? And the reason I'm asking is because when I do direct to camera stuff, it's a struggle. Like whenever I like watch myself back, sometimes I'm looking at the camera like this, or I'm looking at it like that. But you managed to just have a symmetrical head looking down the lens, and I'm looking at your videos like, how do I get? Maybe my head just ain't symmetrical. Like, but it's like, how is it that like you can talk naturally as well? Because sometimes when I hear myself back, I'm like I did a day in the life at Wimbledon, and like I thought I was cringing at myself almost because I'm like, that don't sound like me, but I tried to be as natural as possible, if that makes sense. So like how is it you get the camera to look right and HD, and how is it you sound natural as well? Because I think a lot of people will struggle with actually coming across authentic.
If you saw my setup, it is the most bugs thing ever. I'm not joking. Most of my videos, especially the ones that have done well, I'm sat on the floor in my bedroom. There's like a little ledge next to the window. There'll be a shoebox on that. I'll put my laptop on top of the shoebox. Lou actually is like a little TikTok light that she bought off TikTok shop. I put that on the laptop and then put my phone on the laptop and use that as a sort of stand. Just sit on the floor and talk to the camera.
Really?
Yeah, it's like there really isn't much to it.
Wow.
And how to talk naturally. This is where the practice in storytelling comes in, because that is the other advantage I have. My whole life, for whatever reason, I've been telling stories. Some of the stories you've heard specifically, and I think that because I have such good practice at telling stories, I just know how to tell a good story.
Also, just like keeping eye contact with the camera. Because I know
Yeah.
me, like if I'm starting to look at the camera, all of a sudden I'm doing this, that, and the other. And can I let you in on something? I don't know if you know this, but bro, last year around this time, I was walking on the road in public. My phone got wrapped out of my hand by the e-thieves. So my question to you is, how do you feel safe just like filming yourself? Aren't you like on the... Because bro, I've tried to record while walking and all I do is this. I'm just checking my shoulders like I'm playing centre midfield.
I had my phone snatched as well.
Have you?
But yeah, coming out of work meeting, I was on Google Maps looking where to go next and it got taken. But nah, I shouldn't... If you look at my videos where I record them, you won't get e-bikes there.
Okay.
You just won't. Like it's near where I live. I've never seen the specific spots where I walk and I record. There are no people's phones getting snatched.
So that's the advice. Just if you're going to record in public, just record when there's no e-bikes. And also,
my advice would be not to record in public.
Oh yeah.
If you actually want my advice, don't record in public.
Really?
Yeah, because of the other reasons. Number one, the risk.
Okay.
Number two, it looks kind of weird. But try and obviously not care about that. But number three, it's the audio quality.
Yeah.
The audio and the video quality, you're compromising immediately as soon as you're not in a controlled environment. And I only do that when I have to maintain consistency, because consistency comes first. Even above quality, quality comes second.
Yeah, I love that. So consistency above quality.
Yeah.
But quality, it motherfucking matters.
It matters.
Yeah.
It really matters.
I love that. Where I wanted to go with it next, like, it seems like, I don't want to say like it's been going swimmingly, but you've put in the work and you're reaping the rewards. Have there been any bumps in the road? Like you mentioned the fact that you took that break. Have there been any other challenges that people need to consider if they want to do something similar?
It's just the time. It's the time commitment is massive, and I think also, listen, it's amazing getting recognised frequently. I think people don't quite understand the scale of TikTok. I think I'm doing at the moment an average of 3 million views a week. And those aren't big, that's not the number you see on the side of the TikTok when you go on someone's profile. Those are video starts. Video views is like someone's actually watched for a few seconds as a bare minimum. And imagine, I always say this, a YouTuber back in the day was posting once a week, and the video they were posting once a week was doing 3 million views. You'd be like, that person is blown. They're massive. That's the volume of views that I'm doing. So I'm getting stopped, I'd say more or less every day now. And I think that is obviously a decision. I think the benefit of where I'm at is if I decided I didn't want that and I stopped now, I think within a year, I would just never get stopped.
Yeah.
Because it's so fresh and new. But that is a big choice that I am going to open myself up, for better or worse, for people to come and like chat to me or ask for my picture, which is cool. And I've had nothing but love so far. But for some people, that just won't be right for them.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing about why I stopped TikTok, because like I said at the start, I don't think it was a matter of did I believe that I could do it. I knew I could, because the platforms are built in a certain way where anyone, if they're willing to put the time and the effort in, can do it, which is the amazing thing about social media as a bit of a leveler for people. Anyone can do it. I wasn't in a place personally where I could handle the level of attention that it was coming with. Just in terms of like self-esteem issues, like my stuff with substances was a bit ropey as well. It was all a bit messy, to be honest. Lou and I in our relationship were working through some stuff, and you throw in, oh, you're just posting TikToks all the time and you're getting recognised and it's blowing up. And for me personally, I can only speak for myself, unless I'm in a really solid place personally, I just can't mix that with it. And to be honest, if for whatever reason my personal life started to wobble, TikTok would be the first thing to go.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. You know, you mentioned the fact that you're obviously following this chronological order now. Got it. With like trending sounds and stuff and trends, are you hopping on those now, or you've got your own brand where it doesn't matter, your stuff is just going to be taken up now?
Who knows whether it's going to be taken up forever or for however long, but no. I've got my own hook. I use the same music in all my story videos. I like kind of have my
You've
own.
got an end hook as well.
And
You can have that.
You can have that one. Yeah, I've got my own hooks, and I actually don't even look anymore at those trending things. I used to, but nah, I've got my own thing going on.
Like, you mentioned the fact that you do it all yourself now. Like, how is it you're going to remain this consistent? Like, yeah, people have spoken about what happens when you get to present day. Is your plan to post 2 or 3 times a day until you reach present day? Like, what is your plan?
Yeah, the plan is to keep posting twice a day until I get to present day, and at that point I'll work out what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I've got some ideas of what I'm going to do generally, but in terms of what I'm going to do on TikTok, I don't really know. That's not true. When I get to August, I'm going back to doing football stories ahead of the football season.
Okay.
Because I have to shout out the football boys, because they are the ones that started this whole thing.
Yeah.
When I transitioned from just posting images and writing, kind of the first thing I did that was gathering pace was doing the stories about the football matches I've been to.
Yeah.
And really that was what drove me from 15k to that 45k was the football stuff.
How do people who are mentioned in your stories, I know you never use their names, but how do they feel about, like, do people ever message you? Like, I've watched a lot of The Guardian, so it's fresh. Like, does anyone from The Guardian be like Emma, does Emma know that she's being posted about right now? Because I know her name's not Emma, but you're pagan.
Yeah, of course people message me all the time.
Yeah.
When I did my first Guardian story, a guy who will remain nameless commented on my TikTok saying, I've been waiting for the Guardian stories, because he worked there at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm not even friends with him really anymore, but I've seen him every now and again. And yeah, people message me all the time, but only ever like, yes, I remember that.
Okay, so it's just like an acknowledgement thing versus, you shouldn't post that.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, do you have a plan in place for if things do go south? And the reason I say that and ask that is because if you take like Mr. Beast as an example, right? He does some incredible philanthropy, and people still hate that he's gotten so big that he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. Like, and I'm not saying that you're going to get to Mr. Beast levels, but there will be a point where, and I think sometimes a bit of a UK mentality where someone sees a bit too much success, where all of a sudden what people kind of cheered and supported you for, it kind of starts to turn. I suppose, how is it you're mentally preparing if that moment comes? Because hopefully it doesn't, we pray.
Well, it will. I think every single person does go through this in one form or another. The way I'm mentally preparing is just the way I prepare myself for mental fortitude generally. The most, I guess, like uplifting thing for myself personally about this TikTok thing, having quit, partly because I just couldn't hack it. Emotionally, where I was at, it just wasn't quite right. The positive comments, the negative comments, they don't stir me that much.
Okay,
I'll be honest. I'm able to maintain a pretty level head with it. If I was to say something that blew up on like Shade Borough, and I had like thousands of people commenting on my videos, negative stuff, that's a different thing. I think I would find that difficult. But do I believe I have the structures in place to like handle that and move past it? Like, absolutely. I wouldn't be doing TikTok if I didn't.
Do you feel like, and like I said, I know it's only 100,000, but it's growing at a rapid rate. Do you feel like there's weight in what you say now, so you have to watch the stories, or are you just like, this is what got me here, I'm just going to continue going that way?
The thing that I've got is this is actually my life.
Yeah.
You say what you want.
Yeah.
This is just what happened.
Yeah.
It's the same as if someone wrote an autobiography, and it does happen. Someone writes an autobiography and people criticize the things that are said, but it's just what happened.
Yeah.
And I don't add any source to any of the stories. I recount them as I remember them.
Yeah.
Today I was editing my most recent video, and there was just one sentence in there, and I thought, I'm not 100% sure whether it happened like that or not, so I just took it out.
Okay.
Because that's the other thing that really helps with the mental fortitude stuff. It's just my truth.
Yeah.
And if people want to criticize it, or they want to say, well, I don't even know what they would say. Every now and again, people say, oh, is this true or not? I think the thing that's funny is because we've gone on for so long and I have so many receipts in either picture or video form, people don't question anymore whether it's true or not. But people know this is the life I live. This is my truth. It's my truth.
Yeah.
So what can people really say when it's just my truth? It's just what happens.
And sorry, I always segue, but it's because I'm trying to learn as well. Like, how important is it to document your story, right? Because like you said, you're sharing these pictures from Christ Hospital. It's funny, like I did a LinkedIn post earlier today, big up LinkedIn, and I was looking for like a selfie or something that I could just post to support I was like, fucking hell, I never take any good stock images. So now what I've started doing, like, even I come here today, I was like, Harry, like, must be a couple
picture,
photos.
yeah.
It's like, are you very cognizant now when you're living your life? Oh, I've got to capture it to make sure that at some point, and I think it'd be okay if you are, but no.
No, not at all. And the reason I have so many pictures is because if people are old enough, same age as us to remember, there was an era way back when people could first upload images to Facebook at the time, where people just took pictures of everything.
Yeah.
And I wasn't taking those pictures. I took some, but it was all my friends, and that was the total norm. Every night out, you'd upload like 100 photos after, and no matter what you were doing between the ages when I was probably about 15 to when I was about 19, that was just the norm. And of course, most of the stories I've told are just from that period. So I literally just go on my own Facebook, click on photos of Johnny K. Sometimes this is how I even remember stories.
Yeah.
And I just scroll through the hundreds of pictures of myself, and I see one, I think, that is a banging story, I'm going to tell that. But no, I'm not really making any extra effort now to document what's happening right now, unless I'm doing a day in the life video is the only time I do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to just have my phone out the whole time.
Yeah, I hear that. Because even me, I was like, I kind of want to get into content creation, but I'm such a bad content creator. Like, I went to Wimbledon, and it's basically like getting towards the end of the day, and I was like, I should create content. Bro, I'm like, it's the fucking end of the day, so, and the sun's coming down. I was just like, next year I got to do this differently, man, because I had like the sickest like hospitality experience. But I suppose it's like a mindset thing, and it's something that you got to train. Like you said, like with the storytelling, you just got to train yourself to do it, and it will happen like over a long period of time. Was you about to say?
I was going to say, and with that, what I try and do is I just try and do one day a week where I know I'm doing something cool, like going to Wimbledon, for example, where I commit to doing a day in the life. So it's like on that one day in that week, I'm doing a day in the life. I'll record everything that day. The other 6 days I won't record anything.
Yeah. And just on that, and I'm trying to learn again, with a day in the life, is it literally just like you have your phone set up, or you'll be in like a cool meeting and you're just videoing? Like, if I want to record like an impactful day in the life, what are the shots I need to be capturing?
Best example to look at is Moyo, if you know who that is. He's absolutely unreal creator. He's like probably he'll become a millionaire if he's not already. And his day in the lives are my template.
Okay.
A blend of talking into the camera and filming stuff that you later put a voiceover on, but chopping it up so that literally the start is like, day in the life, I'm doing this I'm going to Wimbledon today, and then it flips to you maybe on the train or going into Wimbledon, and then it's actually a voiceover instead, and it's like snappy variety is everything. Because you just think about how it is for you when you get served someone as a day in the life. It starts slow for the first 3 seconds. You'll just swipe.
That's what mine did. I did some fucking cringy walk up to the... In my head, I was like, let me walk up to the... Because I did it late. Because I didn't actually film it at the start. But that brings me on to my thing. It seems like you draw a lot of inspiration. Like, you do your research to know what is popping. For me, I think sometimes, if I'm being honest, I take shortcuts in that I did my day in the life. I didn't like research day in the life. I was just like, I'm going to do a day in the life. And I think that's where I fail. It's like yours, you do the research behind everything. So I suppose to the listener, you got to kind of consume before you create, so you understand what works.
You really do, yeah, because it's not research. I just enjoy using TikTok.
Yeah.
But every now and again, I see a video and I think, okay, that is a good example.
Do you save it for later?
No, I don't save it.
Okay.
I just watch it and in my head go, the next time I do a video like this, I'm gonna use a little bit more of whatever they're doing. And just constantly just sort of keeping my eyes and ears open as a creator myself. And I don't even like calling myself that. I don't even consider myself to be a creator, really. I find it weird when people comment saying, you're my favorite influencer. I'm like, I'm not an influencer. I co-own a football media business and I manage Barrow. Yeah. That's what I am.
Yeah.
I'm just also just making weird videos at the moment as well. But I think it is about that mentality of being a creator. And when you're even consuming other people's content, do it for enjoyment, but have your creator hat on and try and observe what other people are doing that's working.
Yeah, I love it. The other thing I wanted to say is, with your videos, obviously, you're building a community. People are commenting, like you say, they're saying you're your favourite influencer, they're saying they can relate or they can't. Like, what is your approach to fostering that community? And are you engaging with... Because like you say, you're posting twice a day, millions of views. hundreds, if not thousands, of comments. How is it you keep on top of it? Because you don't just want to air people, right? You want to let people know that you've seen their comments and this, that, and the other. Like, yeah, what is your approach to that?
I try and reply to as many comments as I can. I get, I'd say on average, probably 10 DMs a day now, and I read all of them.
In TikTok.
It can be TikTok, Instagram, or
okay,
LinkedIn. People
okay.
hit me up all over the shop, and I read all of them. So if you sent me a message, I have read it, but I just have to prioritize the ones either that it's really clear I can help this person really tangibly, or they've just held up love in a way that it's just a little bit different. Like, it shows they were there right at the start. Those sort of people I have to reply to. So yeah, I probably get 10 messages a day. I probably reply to 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And comments, I try and reply to as many as I can, but I'll go through phases where I'll stop because I just don't have time.
Yeah, I hear that. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is you're building this audience, and you've kind of mentioned, like, you know, what it is you're trying to do with it, but like monetization, right? Talk about what you want to, but like, yeah, like, when does the monetization? You're not really doing it for the money, but at what point can you start to monetize? And has everything you're building, has it led to brand deals, and what has that process kind of looked like?
So for the last like 5 months, I was making money from the creator rewards program. I'm talking like a few £100s a month.
Bro, that's a couple craps.
No, it is. It's really good. It's
You got to pay tax on it.
You do have to pay tax on it.
Mad
Yeah,
thing.
it's a really good amount of money. I think once I'd hit £500 a month, I was like, wow. And I was making that when I was on about 45,000 followers. That's what I was making.
Wow.
So for context, that's the sort of level I was at. And not all my videos were popping, but I was posting consistently and making from the creator rewards program about £500 a month.
And your videos need to be longer than a minute in order to qualify for that, right? Yeah.
But obviously my format is they always are over a minute. At that point, I had very limited interest from brands. The only brands that would approach me would be like betting brands or crypto brands, which I fundamentally won't work with.
Yeah.
I've got an audience of like kids 16, 17, 18. Some of them will inevitably go on to have gambling problems. I can't promote that sort of product. It doesn't sit with my morals right. Obviously, it's changed growing from 45k to 112k, I think I'm on now. But that's obviously been so recent. Obviously, the creator rewards program amount has gone up. There's someone in my family who needs a bit of financial help at the moment, and I paid their mortgage this month using that money, which is obviously really amazing. And there is a lot more brand interest now as well, yeah. And
like, in terms of, do you have like target brands, or is it if the right thing comes about, we'll just take every opportunity as it comes?
Oh, we're not going to take every opportunity, no. And I've said no.
No, I mean, like, if the right one comes.
Yeah. And I've said way more than I've said yes. But the things I do have potentially coming out with brands, I think they all make sense.
Yeah.
And you'll see those probably in the next couple months. I've just will be starting to do stuff with brands.
I love that. And then, like, on that as well, how do you separate Johnny K, the co-founder of versus Johnny K, the personal person, right? Because you'll be doing brand stuff with them, and now you're doing brand stuff with yourself. Like, I know you said they're super supportive, and, you know, we were talking about some stories offline. How is it you're balancing both?
I'm not thinking about it that much, but one of the brand things I might be about to do, they're doing it with me because I co-own Versus. Like, that's part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it does seem to blend quite nicely. I think it goes without saying, though, that if I was working in like a big corporate company, I would not be able to tell the stories that I am. If I was not doing relatively as well as I am in the stuff I'm doing and had some ownership, would I be talking about this woman Emma like racially abusing me whilst I worked at The Guardian? Like, probably not, because the reality is you are seen to be an outspoken person in that way. Even when you're the victim, other employers will look at that, especially big corporate ones, and they think, well, that's trouble, I'm not hiring that person.
Yeah.
You can't control them.
Yeah.
So there are considerations that I would have to consider a lot more if I wasn't doing Versus with the gang, I wasn't doing the Bow stuff with Bow. There's obviously a level of like ownership and independence in all of that.
Yeah.
That gives me the flexibility to speak a little bit more freely that not everyone has.
I just want to like add to that. I remember after our first conversation, like, something that stuck with me. You were so values driven, And like that's why you moved on from some of the companies that you'd worked at, because the values stopped aligning. And something I didn't know how I was going to bring it up today, but I had to. And it probably wasn't you, but it was Versus. It was the way they spoke about Thomas Partey, and like it was so direct to the audience. I was like, rah. These men are standing on business, letting everybody know across platform. And I was like, that's Johnny. Like the man who I know, who is like so entrenched in his values, I see it in the company he's working for. I was like, I just need to say big up.
Thank you very much.
Even if
really
it wasn't you who posted that,
and it wasn't.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But I'm like, I know that you're a part of that, and I could just see it. Like you're all singing from the same hymn sheet. So when you talk about the fact that you have those freedoms, I see it through everything that the organisation is doing as well.
That's really nice, man. Big up.
And yeah, bun you, Thomas Partey.
Yeah,
you
no,
pagan.
It's not Thomas Partey though.
It's Arsenal.
Thomas Partey's going to face legal consequences for what he did, as he should. It's Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah. Because man, do you know what? Money. Yeah. Just a little segue before we get into it. It really is the root of all evil.
Yeah,
you got people selling their souls for bread, and it's not that deep. And I think one of the reasons for this platform is to show that you can chase the bag just by following your passion. You don't need to sell out in order to, get success. You can just follow your dream. Anyway,
you're right, over. No, you're that is the message I try and get across. Most of the messages I get, that's what it's about. Johnny, I see what you're doing. You're working in the areas you love. You've made a success of it. How do I do that? That's the area where I think I can make a difference. Showing people that you can work in areas that you actually like, make good money, and have a life that you enjoy by extension. I think it's possible for everyone.
I love it. One quick one from me. So everything you're doing is on TikTok. You talk about the fact that, you've had money, you've been able to help family, which is great. Why don't you just post the same videos on YouTube and monetize? Because then you could do more good. But it's time, isn't it?
It's completely a time thing. I also want to do something bespoke for YouTube in horizontal format. Because obviously TikTok's a vertical platform. Of course, I could post the videos on shorts, but a lot of them would get pulled for copyright because of the music in the background. YouTube's so tight on copyright. TikTok just isn't. So I don't think I can actually just repost the same videos on YouTube. I think they would get pulled. But there will be, at some point, something from me on YouTube.
There it is. Just find a couple of questions on this bit. Like, in terms of, we kind of spoke about community. Are there any messages from the audience that have really like stuck out and resonated with you?
There's so many, honestly. There's some that made me cry.
Really?
Yeah, more than once, definitely. Yeah, because, like I said, the purpose of the story is right. And hopefully it comes across. The reason why I've got all these mad stories is because at a certain point, from when I was like 14 to when I was in my mid-20s, I was just doing a madness. And while I was doing a madness, deep down somewhere I was unhappy. And I mean, the people that identify with that experience, they see it in the videos. And it's the thing, like, I think people our age, they watch the videos, and I think sometimes they think this is just all like a bunch of laughs.
Yeah.
The kids, they understand what it's really about. They see these videos and they actually, because of their own experience, they identify there's a teenager here who was actually really struggling. And this was his way of trying to find his way in the world. Yeah. And when people reflect that experience in the stuff that they message me, it just moves me because it makes me think of my own experience. And it makes me think sometimes, I kind of wish there was a Johnny K version of videos that I could watch at that age to understand I wasn't the only person going through that sort of stuff.
I love it. And it's so funny because when I think about this platform, I don't want to say I'm trying to achieve something. My goal is to show people that you can go through like what you went through from 14 to your mid-20s and you can still be a success. Because I think, like, just to add to your point, there's a lot of people who will relate to those videos but think they'll never amount to anything. And I think the reason for this platform is to let people know that it doesn't, like, every moment in your life builds you up to like this moment, and you shouldn't let anything define you. And if you get to this point, now you know, make sure to subscribe, because we're trying to do powerful things here. We're genuinely trying to help people, I suppose, because we've all had these feelings, right? And that's the reason why I have this platform, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I found my job in tech just by luck through a friend who I met at university. And I'm like, if I didn't have that friend at university, who knows where I'd be? And I know a lot of people who maybe aren't where they want to be. So, yes, social media is powerful, man. If used in the right way.
If used in the right way.
It is very powerful. Bro, I think, you know what? Just to anybody who's listening to this, is there anything final you want to say on like TikTok before we move on, bro?
Oh, it's also recent. It's so difficult to sort of put anything into any kind of like broad catch-all thing, but the opportunity is real, basically. And, you know, I'm very fortunate is that in that you take TikTok away, I'm good. But the level of opportunity of changing your life through that platform, we're living in the moment of it right now. That's why so many people are trying to do it. And even when I first started posting, I've got friends who were posting content who could also be doing even better than I am, but they gave up along the way. And I think all it takes, but it's like anything in life, all it takes is consistency. And I'll tell you the thing it's done in me, this TikTok thing, is it's made me realise I can just do anything.
Yeah.
Doing this, I'm like, if I just apply the same thing in any part of my life, commit to it, I'm incredibly consistent, take an honest look at what works and what's not working, drop out what's not working, focus in on what is working. It's giving me a structure that I'm like, I could literally do anything.
Yeah. And just final thing, actually, sorry, on this. Posting, you do 2 to 3 times a day. What times do you post?
Literally whenever the video's ready.
Okay.
The videos move quicker if I post them after 7 p.m. But if I have a video ready, which I do most days, by 9 a.m. it's going. So I don't keep anything in my drafts. This is another really important thing. People just build up all these videos in their drafts. If a video is ready, it goes. Okay. So that I have to work on the next video.
Okay. And like, if you're doing 2, would you do one at 7 p.m. and 8 p.m.? And the reason I'm asking these questions is because, let me tell you something. For somebody who's got a small audience, but I've had some views, I've got all of these fucking things, these stipulations in my head, like, if I go back onto the platform too soon, it's going to stop pushing out my video.
No, that's true though.
It is true.
Yeah, I asked ChatGPT the other day, because I had a video and I had another one ready to go, and I said, if I post within the next hour, is it going to affect the performance? It said, yes, it will.
Okay, so if you're doing 2 a day, what time? One
ideally,
morning,
as far apart as possible.
Okay.
Even today, I posted my first video this morning. I had the second video ready to go probably 2 hours later. And I recorded the video, but I just didn't start editing it until I was on my way here. I edited the whole video and posted it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the first thing. And then hashtags, right? Because let's drop a bit of game. So I have found, because, like my videos have started to do a little bit of something. If I just do 3 or 4 hashtags, that's like the sweet spot. If you start doing 10, 15, they can't pick up what's going on.
Yeah,
but if you've got some sweet spot hashtags that are in the 100k to like million bracket, that's when TikTok starts, because it needs to be searchable, the video, and that's what helps it to blow. Have you found something similar?
100%. You got it bang on.
3 to 4. And then the last thing, and I don't know if you do this, what has helped me as a small creator, add into story. I don't know if it's helped, but it's something I've started to do, and my videos are consistently like doing okay. Add into story. Is that something you do? No. Okay. Oh, damn.
I've heard it's good though.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't do it.
Okay. All right. Look, that was the TikTok masterclass. If you want more, just let us know in the comments. We're gonna have to get it back for a part 3. But we've spoken about Johnny, the influence. I know he's gonna wince at that, but alongside the Versus stuff, alongside the TikTok stuff, you do music management. And something I didn't get to do in our first conversation is talk about like how that started. So before we get into Bowo, let's take it back. Like, how is it you first got the opportunity to become a music manager?
So my first break in music was working at the global music streaming platform Boiler Room. I was working there as a partnerships manager. It's basically a sales job, trying to sell to brands to get them to do like branded boiler rooms, like trying to get Coca-Cola to sponsor a boiler room in like Sao Paulo or something like that. And whilst I was working there, a really good friend of mine at the time, Eki, had a radio show on Foundation FM, and she revealed to me, basically, she's like, I've got the sickest thing going on. I was like, what? She's like, I've got novelists to come on my radio show. I was like, how on earth have you done that? She had met him at a party or something, just asked him, exchanged numbers, he agreed to do it, and he actually followed through. which is very typical of him. He's a good man. He was going to do it. And I was like, that's so sick. Well done. The day of the radio show came. She calls me. Why don't you come on the radio show as the other guests? Bear in mind, I was a no one. I'm still a no one now. But at that point, I was even more of a nobody. And I was like, I'd love to. Got there. Cut a long story short, we're like on the mic. When the mic's off, he turns to me like this and he says, so you work a boiler room? I said, yes. He said, can you get me a boiler room show? Can you get me to do one? I was like, yeah, of course. Literally, I walked away from that saying, why on earth did I say that I could get him a boiler room? I've got no idea how it even works. Went into the office the next day, was like shivering in my boots, worrying about why have I told like literally one of my favourite artists of all time that I can get him a boiler room. I know I work here, but I don't even know how it works. Kid you not, on the other side of the room, within 5 minutes of me being in the office, the head of music said to one of the music programmers, I'd love to do a show with Novelist.
Oh my God. The serendipity you spoke about.
There's so much of him. And if you're going to ask me about Bow Wow, something really similar happened with him. And I obviously just got up, went to the other side of the room, told them that I knew Novelist. They were like, how well? I was with him last night. And cut a long story short, a few weeks later, we ended up doing this boiler room on the roof of the boiler room office that Nov, me and this guy Tom programmed essentially. It was like a huge moment in grime at the time. It's like a viral clip where DWE is on this roof. He literally goes, ooh, and it just gets wheeled immediately. It still goes viral now. And that was from the boiler room that Nov, Tom and I put on together. And I think because of that, because I followed through in such a concrete way at such short notice, I think that I had favour with Nov. Like a year later, he rang me out of the blue and asked me whether I'd be interested in working with him. And I said yes. And that was the start of my journey in music management.
And then, okay, sick. And then we'll fast forward to today. You're now with Bow Wow. I want to make sure I'm saying it right.
You said it right.
Okay. Yeah, how does that come about? So, yeah.
So Bow Wow and I came to know each other because I walked up to him at a party in 2021 and said, are you Bow Wow? He was like, yeah. I was like, I think your music is unbelievable. I was actually wearing Nov's Yeah jacket at the time and he was like, do you like No Novelist? I was like, yeah, I'm his manager. We've literally just done O2 Kentish Forum. I've just come straight from there to this party. He was like, Novelist is one of my biggest inspirations. We were like, cool. We met.
Yeah.
We followed each other on Instagram. We never really talked though. As time went on, I came to become friends with his former manager, great guy by the name of Ahmed. And I ended up booking Bow Wow to play 2 Versus events. One at the Size store on Carnaby Street, and then he played at our Versus 50 party. And I think at that point, obviously, they were like, wow, this guy is able to get us like quite serious money to do these brand bits. I then sat down with Bow Wow and his former manager to give them a little bit of strategy and thinking around how to get more brand deals. And then Bow Wow's manager, former manager Ahmed, decided to step away. Bow Wow messaged me, seemingly out of the blue again. We hadn't spoken in months, saying I'd love to meet up and talk about like music basically. And the important context, the serendipity, is that when I stopped managing Nov for the next 18 months, I would say to Lou, my partner, I will never return to music management unless Bow Wow was to ask me, which was not something that was on the cards. We would not talk. We didn't really know each other that well. And of course, one day Bow Wow reaches out to me, asks me to meet up. And I say, I'm going to go to meet Bow Wow now. And Lou said, do you reckon he's going to ask you to be his manager? I said, I don't think so, because I know his manager. And Lou said, the way the universe works, I think he might. And I went there and he asked me to be his manager.
Wow. Just on that, right, in the 18-month period where I suppose you follow each other but nothing's happening, like, are you posting stuff on social so he knows you're about the music scene? Like, how is it that like he even thinks, oh, okay, let me holler at Johnny?
Well, you got to remember, I booked him for the 2 Versus events, paid him a decent amount of money to do that. I obviously sat down with him and his manager to talk about partnership strategy. So I think it was that stuff. And he obviously knows I used to manage Novelists as well. He's a big inspiration for him. And yeah, if you follow me on socials, which he did, I think you get the sense I do sort of live and breathe music as much as I do football. Yeah. So I think it would have been a mix of all that stuff.
Sick. And then to those who, you know, let's put the TikTok to the side now, thinking about music, right? I've had some music managers on before, but it'd be great to hear your first-hand experience. Like, what does it encompass?
There's a question everyone asks, and I'll tell you this. When I first started managing Nov, I rang someone I considered to be a mentor, a guy called Gilbert. It's like the first successful music manager I ever knew. He went to my school. He's 2 years older than me. And I said to him, so what does a music manager actually do? He was like, you'll see. What do you mean you'll see?
Yeah.
He said, the things you have to do will reveal themselves. He was like, there's nothing I can tell you about what you should do today But what you should do next week, and I think there's so much truth to that. That's why I found it so incredibly stressful managing North. Nothing to do with him. It was a constant not knowing something and quickly having to figure it out. But in more concrete terms, really it's managing all of their affairs other than the creation of their music.
Wow.
What does that entail? Managing the relationship with their booking agent, their accountant, their lawyer, helping them with the strategies to how they release music. I think if you're a good manager, even defining which music you're releasing and which music you're not releasing. A lot of it is pastoral and motivational, like being the day-to-day person that an artist has to come to every single day. I'm down about this. I'm up about this. I'm worried about this. I'm excited about this. You look at my WhatsApp, Bow and I send each other. I mean, the amount of messages Bow and I will send each other in a week, hundreds, multiple phone calls. It's like an all-encompassing thing. But you have to have a business hat on. I think the entire goal of a manager is to take, hopefully, like an incredible creative person and bring that vision to life and make it commercially successful.
Yeah. And like as part of that, so you mentioned that he had a booking agent and a few other people. Is it you who'd be in charge of like finding the money, like the brand deals or the gigs, the this, the that?
It's complicated. It depends on the level that your artist is at. Our booking agent finds us shows.
Okay.
The show offers come to me. I then review and decide whether to take it to Bauer, almost always I will. Obviously, look at this thing we've had come in. He asked me, what do you think I should do? Do you think we can get more money? Brand deals, again, some brands will come to me directly because I've got good relationships with most brands. Sometimes it just comes into the inbox. Me and Bauer discuss it. What do you think? More money? It really is, across every single decision, the musician having someone to bounce their ideas off. And in some areas, someone that knows more than they do. Some stuff Bauer knows quite a lot more than me. Other areas I know more than him. So it's a lot of push and pull.
And then when I think about like a music manager as well, it's like whenever they're touring or performing, you're there doing everything for them to make sure they're at 100% to give the best performance they can to their fans, right?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Well, you might also employ a tour manager, who is
Okay.
someone that is an absolute logistical expert. Often, like our tour manager we work with, he's been to most of the venues across Europe already, so he'll know the venue managers. He knows what their tech specs are at the venue. He knows what the DJ setup is. If I go on tour or I'm going to shows, mostly it's to just be there for Bow.
Okay.
Make sure he's all right. I think I was at a meeting earlier today and they made a really good point. It's at shows where you will often meet your most valuable contacts. Like we did a festival at Germany in the weekends. The person that runs Live Nation in Germany was at this show. For me, obviously, any conversations like that, they obviously come to me. So to just be there in person to meet people is like really important. But the logistical elements of shows, when you get to a certain size, a tour manager will take care of that.
Okay. And just on that, right, because there is power in networking, like, okay, how is it you know that the Live Nation person is going to be there? And then once you know the Live Nation person is going to be there, is it hard to actually manufacture the conversation? And the reason I say that, I know me, when I go to a networking event, I'll speak to some people, but there's some people I just don't have enough courage to go up to. So, like, what is your approach to actually networking with your target people?
I don't do it in that traditional way. I've never been to a networking event in my life. I would never go to one either. So I always try and tell people, I'm at a music show for one of my favourite artists. Okay, I happen to be the manager. The guy from Live Nation, I met him at Bauer's Berlin show when we were on tour. And I don't go up to him because I want to network with him. I want to know, how come you're here?
Okay.
Which artist? I'm actually curious. There's no part of me that's thinking I should really need to go and talk to that person for X, Y, Z reason. The curiosity is like completely authentic. And I think that's one of the best things that's carried me through my entire career is I've never, ever thought about it as actual networking, and I don't think anyone does. If you're in the right place and you remain curious, it all just kind of happens naturally. And I think I would really encourage people to be curious in others. It's one of the best skills that I learned actually in therapy, is where that came from. My therapist always says to me, I try not to talk about therapy too much. I don't think it's healthy to always be saying publicly the things that you're learning in therapy. It's my personal opinion. But I will tell you this, Johnny, you're incredibly curious about other people. Let yourself be curious.
Yeah.
I thought that's so true. When I walk into a room, like, you say I'm at a networking event, and there's some person there and I know who they are and I think they could offer me real value. Part of the reason why I'm so nervous to talk to them is because I am so curious about how they got there. What were you doing today? What does your day look like? So my therapist said, let yourself be curious.
Yeah. Can I just like come back to that? Because I agree with you, and I believe myself to be a curious person. I mean, look what I'm doing here. I'm like diving deep. But I've been in that exact same situation, and sometimes I feel nerves because I've been led to think that if you're going up to somebody who, I don't know, is more senior than you, or they got the following and this and that, it's like you need to make yourself valuable. And sometimes curiosity doesn't necessarily equate to value, and you might feel like you're wasting their time. So it's like, how do you overcome that? Like, I think the curiosity thing is great, right? But sometimes, and maybe it's the people I'm trying to talk to, right? You feel like, yeah, I feel like I don't want to waste their time. And then you blumber. Am I just overthinking it?
Yeah, man. Forget all of this wasting their time, no value stuff. Like, we're all human beings.
Yeah.
And I've said this a few times in a few different places. Easiest way to get success is just by giving up your own time.
Yeah.
Being selfless, it all just comes back round.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of really successful people know that is one of the keys to success, is giving up, giving away, being generous. So if you think you're not being valuable, you are. You're being valuable in that you're allowing that person to be of service. And a lot of successful people know the more service you do, the more success you get.
100%. I think I said this on the podcast before, but I was at something with Simon Squibb, if you know.
Oh, great, man. He's one of the best examples of that model.
Yeah, and like it was like this like creator community thing I was at, and he just challenged everybody in the room. He was like, every day or every week, just give someone 5 minutes. So like, to your point, it's not just you saying that. I've heard it from many places where if you give, it does come back. And I suppose there's just something for the listener. Like, going back to music management, you said like when you started with Nov, you had no idea and you'd learnt on the job. Mm-hmm. But to somebody who might be getting into that, like, what is something you wish you knew at that point, or maybe that you knew going into Bowo, that you were able to like implement and like get the head start?
Truth is always the best solution.
Yeah.
What I was doing with Nov is at times we get some sort of bad news, and I'll just be too scared to tell him straight away. And I'll be like, right, there's obviously some way I can package this news in order to make it seem not that bad, or sometimes to make it seem like I haven't messed up. I did that so much. I rang myself round in circles, sort of trying to work out the best way to say stuff and not say stuff and not annoy him. But by bearing in mind, Nov never did anything to make it seem like I had to act that way. That was all on me. That was all my weird psychosis around people pleasing.
Yeah.
So when I started managing Bowo, I actually felt hugely relieved, because I was like, I know what I need to do. Just be honest.
Yeah.
Good, bad. It's never really even about you as a manager. Oh, the show's cancelled because something's happened. Bowo, I'm sorry, the show's cancelled. He's like, yeah, cool. Do you know what I mean? It's like the truth. As a manager, you have to be honest.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work fundamentally if you're not. If you're trying to protect the artist from too much, the whole thing falls apart.
I love it. And then from like your experience with these two artists, like, what has been the biggest challenge? And yeah, how is it you've overcome or learned from the biggest challenge?
Mine's been time, because I've chosen this weird life where I'm trying to build the business of Versus and trying to build these artist careers at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's been the biggest challenge, is managing that and managing the perceived stress in my head of how, what does Nov think about me doing Versus? What does Versus think about me doing Nov? That was the thing that probably caused me more stress than anything else. And as I said to you off camera earlier, the maddest thing about that is when I sat down with Corey, CEO of Versus, and was like, I'm considering not managing Nov anymore. His response was, why would you stop doing that?
Yeah.
And do you know how dumb I felt in that moment? Because I knew I'd just spent the last 6 months, the whole time, stressing about what I was worried he was thinking about the time I was spending managing Novelist.
Yeah.
And I just made it all up in my head.
Yeah. Do you know something which has just come to me? Do you know the thing about making stories up in your head is that, especially when you rate people, you make these stories up in your head. I think it's in case they disappoint you, because you have such a like rosy image of them, but you actually need to flip it on the head. The reason you have the rosy image of them is because they are that they are that person, they are that guy or that girl. Because I've been in a similar situation where I'm like, oh my God, if I say this, I remember like I used to say, like, I flopped at uni, and I was like, oh, how do I tell my parents? Like, they're gonna disown me, they're gonna kick me out of the house. And like, it literally took me, I was like literally like unpacking my bags to like go home for summer and whatever. And then like I called my mum. I'm like, oh mum, I've got to retake some exams later in summer. And she was just like, okay, we go again. I was like, oh, like that's it. Like
all that time, all that stress for nothing.
Do you know what I mean? And I think I say it to say, like, just have faith that the people, they are the people you think they are, versus a story in your head, like you said, the psychosis, because that's not, like, we're making up these things and I don't, on what grounds? Yeah, another rant. But on that, you say, okay, so the time has been the biggest challenge, and yeah, like, where do you find the time for yourself?
I don't really.
Okay,
It's the truth. I guess I have to be honest about that.
and I think you do, right? Because sometimes
Yeah.
people think that you can work like a 9 to 5 and find success,
Nah.
but sometimes to live this life that might look, you know, a certain way, this is the sacrifice.
Like, for example, Lou and I got back from Glastonbury this is last week at 8 a.m. on Monday morning. I had to be in the office by 11 a.m. I then had a dinner that night, so I didn't get home till about 11 p.m. Having got home at 8 a.m. from being at Glastonbury, working at Glastonbury. On the Wednesday, I then flew to Amsterdam back in a day. On the Friday, I went to Newcastle and back in a day. On the Saturday morning, on a 9 a.m. flight, Bowo, myself and his DJ Oakland flew to Leipzig for a festival. We got back at midnight on Sunday evening, and I was back in work on Monday morning. That's what it can look like.
Bro, I'm tired just hearing that.
But, you know, anything that's worth having comes with sacrifice. And this is what my sacrifice looks like. Now, the fortunate thing, this is not a poor me story. Look at the things I'm doing.
Yeah.
Glastonbury, Nike HQ in the Netherlands, Newcastle for a project with Newcastle United Football Club, then a festival with an artist that I love, and then back home. But it's really stretching. And like, you know, probably about 6 months ago, I sensed I was maybe going to be moving into a new phase where the level of sacrifice would be higher, but the potential reward would be higher. And I had to have a sit-down conversation with Lou where I said, it's going to get serious now.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. I keep thinking, you know, when you listen to, because I'm sure you listen to a lot of podcasts from a lot of successful people, all anyone says, it's unbelievable the level of sacrifice. It's unbelievable the level of time you've got to put into it. You've got to ignore all the noise. And I'm like, for the first time ever, I'm like in that place, and I keep thinking like, oh my gosh, it was true all along.
Yeah.
Not that I thought anyone was lying, but I'm actually sitting in the middle of that right now.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it, but it's a decision.
Yeah.
It is a decision, and like a lot of my personal life is like non-existent at the moment.
Yeah. And like, let's just say things. I always like to. I know you got your therapist, but also therapist bio here as well. Like, have you had burnout? And if you have, like, can you anticipate when it's coming on, and like, how is it you can guard against that for anyone who might be in a similar space?
I've got a controversial opinion on burnout. I think if you're right in the center of what you're meant to be doing, you'll never burn out. Even the people I run verses with, they said that's not true. I said that's because you're not doing specifically what you're meant to be doing. Versus is the right thing. But in terms of your day-to-day, what you're actually spending your time on, if you were doing the right thing, you wouldn't burn out. That's my experience. I don't feel close to burnout at all.
Wow.
Despite the fact, I just described what my week was like last week. This week, I went to Sunderland and back. You know, I'm here now.
And you're posting on TikTok
Posting on TikTok twice a day.
day.
I'm not wobbling at all, I'll be honest.
Okay.
Because I'm doing exactly what I believe I'm meant to be doing in all areas, whether that's uplifting Bowo, continuing to grow verses, or building this community on TikTok. I think that I'm right at the center of where I'm meant to be. But I will say, I get an incredible amount of support away from work. I still do therapy twice a week, face to face. I do a whole bunch of recovery stuff around my substance issues. Like, that's multiple days a week. You know, I speak to people on the phone every single day. Like, I'm held by structures where I'm not just doing this on my own. I think it's important to clarify that. I think you take those structures away, the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah.
And let's not forget Lou, my partner as well.
Yeah.
Without the stability and the support she gave me, none of this would be possible either.
Yeah, and do you feel like being in a relationship has allowed you to enter into this phase because it's allowed you to focus?
100%. I wish I could recall the stats because I literally heard it on a podcast earlier this week. But you look at people that have wealth, particularly entrepreneurs that have gone on to have outsized business success. You look at the proportion of them that are in long-term relationships and those that have children, it is way higher. In fact, of the top entrepreneurs, it is almost never to find any that are like totally single. They just don't exist, basically.
Yeah.
Right at the top. I'm not talking about people, you know, in the sort of mid-level. You look right at the top, you know, billionaires, 500 millionaires, that sort of level. All of them are married with children. There aren't really any that are single, and I think there's a really important reason for that.
Yeah, it keeps you rooted. It keeps you
rooted,
centered.
yeah.
Yeah, sick. Coming back to music, right? There's a couple of other things I wanted to talk about before we round out. One is you spoke about Glastonbury, right? I feel like Glastonbury for a lot of artists, it's like the pinnacle. Obviously, I think it's like the pyramid stage and this stage and that stage. And, you know, shout out Lewis Capaldi for coming back. How does an artist get to Glastonbury? How do you get to Nirvana, right? Because Bow Wow, like when I saw you guys there, even Lou, your partner, she's like DJing there. It's like, it's all well and good them doing it, but how'd you get there? So I suppose as the manager of Bow Wow, how does that kind of opportunity come about?
I think one of the big mysteries of music and the live part of the music industry is you've got to have a good booking agent. Lou and Bow Wow have the same booking agent. Okay. Not the exact individual, but they're both under the same company. Nov also was booked by these same people. They're incredible agents. I'm going to shout them out, UTA. We have two guys called James and Jack there who do an incredible job. They were able to get Bow Wow the Glastonbury booking. I think I said to you off camera, it helped a bit that I knew the people booking that part of Glastonbury, but predominantly it's the success Bow Wow's had as an artist, and then two fantastic booking agents that we work with.
Yeah, and I think that's the gem there, right? Like UTA, there might be, maybe if you're in the music industry, you know about them, but maybe you're just on the come up and you don't, and you've listened to this and now you do. You're welcome. I suppose with that as well, like with all the content you're creating, with Bow Wow, he's an artist. To be honest, I didn't do much research, but does he feel pressure to build a connection with his audience, and does he come to you for advice or things like that?
It's really funny you should say that, because Gilbert is the music manager who's 2 years older than me in school, the one that I rang the first day I was managing Nov, and he messaged me about my TikTok, and he said no artist that ever works with you has an excuse now.
Yeah.
But Bow Wow, it's slightly different with him. Bow Wow is like, he's not a massive talker. That's just not who he is. He's not the guy to be going on and talking on camera loads. And so much of his success is based on like a super clean aesthetic and of course great music. But yes, of course, as his manager, the fact that I know the mechanics of how these platforms work, we talk about it a lot.
Okay, sick. Bow Wow, if you want to talk a little bit, there's a seat here. There's a seat here ready for you. I suppose, yeah, like to anybody who wants to get into music management, eyes wide open, what would your advice be and considerations?
Biggest mistake people make, I think, is managing a friend who has no motion. I would never manage someone until there is something to manage. And what I mean by that is an artist on their own is able to make music, obviously with collaborators, and start trying to create a buzz online. If you're an artist, you don't need a manager for step one.
Yeah.
And step one is make the music. Step two is you try and generate an online buzz. When it starts kicking off and the buzz starts building and you then have emails coming to you, that's when you need a manager. And to the managers, don't go and manage an artist where they've got no motion. If they're at a point where there are things coming to them, they need help. If they're just making music in their bedroom, they haven't got much out, they haven't really got anyone listening to their music, they're not really doing any shows, that person doesn't need a manager.
Okay, and just on that, because I know a few musicians who I think that they are bigger than their audience represents. How is it you can create that motion that you're talking about? Because I think there are some people who are slept on, and there are people who, like Noah Khan, who fucking took TikTok over and now he's selling out stadium shows. Like, he got the motion. How do you replicate something like that? I'm not saying copy him, but how do you generate that motion?
It's all just on TikTok and Instagram, unfortunately. And the classic thing is, just like me growing on social media, The mechanics are incredibly simple. Are you actually just willing to do what it takes? You know, I saw a video with a big American artist saying, create a song, create 200 pieces of content around that song.
Wow.
If the song's good enough, you post them at the right regularity, you look at what works and what doesn't, and you adjust, your song will blow. It's as simple as that. But for whatever reason, I would say the majority of artists don't want to do that. And there's good reason. Some people, it will kill their credibility if they are posting too much on TikTok. And I really hear that. But if you're an artist and you want to play big stadiums and big shows, it's actually the easiest opportunity ever is right now. In our lifetime, we lived in an era where you had to be signed to get music out there. The way the distribution worked, it actually just wasn't physically possible to release music independently. Well, that's out the window. You don't need a record label in terms of the marketing. It's all social driven. You can do that yourself as well. But are you actually willing to do what it takes?
And just on that, and I think it's not just with music, it's with being successful in general. You got to be willing to leave your ego at the door.
Yeah.
I don't want to come across too much. It's not my brand. Guess what? If you're selling out of stadiums, it is like people. You're crazy until you're not. Do you know what I mean? And I think people need to get out of their own way. If there's a clear pathway and blueprint, why not take it and worry about all that stuff? Because what's the point being cool when no one knows you? Yeah. Versus cringy and you have the success you want. I know which one I'm choosing every time.
Yeah, and it's only cringe until it works, like people say.
It.
Yeah, that's the thing. Being a musician now and not promoting your music on TikTok is like being a musician in the 90s and saying I'm not stocking my CD in HMV.
Yeah.
It's the way people discover music.
Get yourself on TikTok. That's how Tyler, everyone, isn't it? Tyler, as soon as you get that trending sound, off to the races. And also now, if you're not using like a bloody label, there's none of this like chopping of royalties and the this and the that. The P's is all going direct to you.
Yeah.
Music or music manager, you've heard it here first. Make sure there's motion. And then once there's motion, you can do your thing. Coming back to you, bro, as we round out. Personal branding. Obviously, we've spoken about the TikTok stuff. You're very active on LinkedIn. You're now doing talks. Talk me through some of the talks you're doing and what it is you're trying to connect with your community.
I'm just trying to do what I can to try and make sure everyone else can have like a fulfilling work life. It's the one thing I think I can help with at some scale is just showing people that it is possible to be passionate about something, to turn it into your work, and then as a result not really feel like you're working, because that's what I've got. And I feel like that is when I look at this life, like, hey Johnny, what's the one area where you can actually impact like hopefully like a decent amount of people? I think it's that. Like I think that's my thing that I'm able to do. So that's really all the talks I do, which some of which I'm doing off my own back. That's kind of the theme of all of them really, is like following a passion-led career.
Yeah, and like with LinkedIn, are you taking people on the journey with yourself? Is it to let people know that you're doing these talks? Like, what's the purpose of the content you post on LinkedIn?
I'm not the best on LinkedIn. I mean, for a long time, people considered me to be like a real LinkedIn expert, but I think that LinkedIn has moved past sort of me. And really the truth is I use it to promote Versus work, to promote stuff that I'm doing on an achievement level, and then to drive sign-ups, the sort of stuff that I'm doing. But beyond that, I haven't got like a very good, clear LinkedIn strategy. And of course, because of the amount of scale I'm generating on TikTok and the fact that as a bonus to the impact, you make money out of it.
Yeah.
I'm so demotivated to post on LinkedIn. Like, why would I want to?
Yeah.
And the audience I want to speak to is on TikTok.
It's and just on that, it's TikTok. It's not Instagram. It's not YouTube. It's TikTok.
For me, it's TikTok.
Okay.
If I had more time, if I had a team of people, I would do YouTube as well. And I'd probably do Instagram as well.
Okay.
But I don't have a team of people. It's just me. And I've got just enough time to do TikTok. And that's all I've got time for.
I might have a VA in the Philippines for you to help expand the empire, but that's something we'll take offline. No, I'm joking, bro. As we round out, bro. So obviously, part 1, we spoke about Versus. Part 2, we've spoken about TikTok. We've spoken about music management. Johnny, the man who wears many hats. Like, where is it he sees himself in the next 5 years?
I'm really excited to see where I can take this TikTok thing. And I don't mean in terms of TikTok specifically. I mean in terms of the audience that I've built. I think there's really something in the 50 things to do before you leave school. Whether that is a book or a TV format or a film, I think there is genuinely something in that could get interest at scale.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the 50 things to do before you leave school?
Just watch my TikTok.
Okay.
Just watch my TikTok, that's all I'll say. Because I've spoken through that a lot on my TikTok from when I was at school. I'm really excited by that. I'm really excited about what I can do for my football-loving audience, and I'm working in the background on a project specifically for them around product of some sort. It's very early stages, that's all I'll say. And then, of course, it's continuing to build the Bow brand and continuing to build the Versus brand.
And, like, in terms of, like, metrics, do you care about numbers, or is it just continue just sharing my story and whatever will be, will be?
So as long as I'm making enough money to support myself, Lou, my family, where they need it, and I get to do what I enjoy, I've won. And that's where I'm at now. So as long as I stay at the same level I'm at now, I've won.
Yeah. Johnny, man, we did it again. I've got another quick fire for you.
Let's go for it.
Are you ready, bro? Would you rather be known for your style or your storytelling?
Storytelling.
Would you rather create content that inspires millions but never makes money, or content that makes a lot of money but never goes viral?
Inspires millions and make enough money with the other stuff I do.
Okay. Would you rather be famous for your music taste or for your football knowledge?
Music taste.
Love it. Would you rather collaborate with your dream brand or your dream artist?
Artist.
Love it. Would you rather be respected by industry insiders or adored by your community?
Oh, the community, of course.
Okay.
Fuck the industry insiders.
And then finally, would you rather have a camera crew follow you everywhere you go, or never be able to film anything yourself again?
Now that is a tough one. No, it's got to be, what are we doing up in the bedroom? I've got a camera crew with me when I'm with my partner or when I'm even alone. Like, no, it obviously has to be never film anything again.
I love it. Johnny, bro, I think we've done this before, but I'm doing it again, man. Like, we obviously have the closing tradition. You said last time you wouldn't want to change anything about, advice you'd give to your younger self. Is it still the same?
Of course. Remember last time I said I wouldn't give any advice to my younger self because look how well things have turned out despite everything.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
8 months to a year.
8 months to a year ago.
Things have only gotten better.
Things have only gotten better because, not in spite of, because of everything that happened. And now that's even more direct because of the story. So no, I wouldn't change anything.
I love it.
You can have that one.
Yeah, there we go. We got it. Johnny, bro, to those who don't already know, where can they find you?
OJHNYN. That is the handle. Instagram, TikTok. Follow Versus as well, and Bow.
Yes, come on. And guys, if you've gotten to this point in the conversation, you know what to do. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to reshare. Guys, let us know what your favourite videos are, what your favourite stories are. And with that, it's been another episode of What My Best Friend Does. If you didn't know, now you know. Now go and take some immediate action.